best of 3 veto, though. I could definitely see this going to a 3-mapper, but we're going to have it kicking off real quick up mid. Malta and Bentet trading out kills. Bomb's been dropped, and Dexter is making a move down Banana. He's going to try and get around the back of the oncoming terrorists, but it's leaving Urkast all alone on the site. He is going to deliver 2 headshots, though. One-man army, only losing 1 player in the process. So yeah, I can see it going with a 3-mapper event to answer your question. It got a bit hot and heavy early on there.
Yeah, rudely decided to distract our conversation, or disrupt it. But yeah, that's exactly what you want to see from Grayhound's end. And I don't know, I think this is very much a 50-50 one. And I think I'm going to join the boat of looking forward to a 3rd map already, really. And I think there's also some truth to what Sidan was mentioning on the desk as well. The fact that we haven't seen Bentet really go off for a game yet, and it's very unlikely that we're going to run through the entirety of a tournament without that actually happening. And if he could do it right now, I think there's a fair case to be made that he is the best player in the region. He's the best player at this minor when he plays to his normal level, and that's going to be quite difficult to deal with for Grayhound.
Yeah, we've had moments, but not really consistency from Bentet, and I guess that's more of a microcosm of TYLOO as a whole. You don't really see the consistency that we know that they're capable of. Urkast, I think only on the CZ. I don't think actually upgraded to a primary weapon like the rest of his team did. Maybe waiting for the longer haul.
Foreseeing the future.
Actually, pardon me, I'm incorrect. It was an MP9.
Yeah. Not a massive loss, and not a great get for TYLOO necessarily. But Freeman's going to be wielding it. They're just edging their way slowly up here towards the B-bomb side. Still 2 players on Grayhound to defend. Make that 1.
Sicko, who has been in fine form, delivering more frags down. Money in the bank for his AWP, which he'll be picking up momentarily. But first off, he has the task of finishing off the rest of TYLOO, which he will do no problems, getting an assist on the last kill. A 2-0 start for Grayhound, but they were all seemingly like they were going to go with TYLOO on the desk, so I'm going to say, yeah, the boys.
Yeah, well, yeah, the other boys.
Yeah, the other boys, indeed.
The other boys, and I can't really argue with it either. I mean, they've looked indomitable so far. They've looked like the best team yet to be tested, truly. We thought that MVP might be the first real stopping block for Grayhound, not necessarily in terms of actually losing straight out a best-of-3 series, but at least getting pushed. That was not to be the case. So Grayhound as a winner, I feel like that's a reasonable way of going about it. But I'm for the time being, just knowing that Bentet's on the side of TYLOO, I'm going to have to give them the edge.
The problem is that I've fell into that trap so many times in the past where, especially at majors and etc., TYLOO was such a fun game to cast and to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Like, such an enjoyable team.
You just want to see them succeed, right?
Yeah, I get suckered into the romance of like, yeah, but if Bentet shows up and, you know, X, Y, and Z all align and the stars are in the right place, sometimes he's just not going to show up. And you have to say, if he doesn't in this matchup, Grayhound have a really good chance at qualifying for the major.
That is very true. We have seen great performances out of players like Somebody and Summer up to this stage, though. I just really like the makeup. I guess the individuals on the side of TYLOO can be so damn strong, but as you said, yeah, there needs to be some stars aligning and things going in their favor for that to happen and for them to play at their best.
Spot player in pits, but long-range P250 is not going to get the upper hand on Dexter's M4. I believe it was actually Malta. Dick Stacey going to get pushed from CT. Just needs to stay alive. He knows he has teammates around Library and also Banana. So a death from Dick Stacey could have put a cat amongst the pigeons in round 3, but they have still got a kill on Sicko. There's a smoke down they're going to have to cross through.
This is a weird one. Strangest standoff you've seen in quite a while. Dick Stacey does have eyes peered in, and that's going to set them forward. Not expecting Urkast to be in this position, and that leaves Bentet alone.
And he wants to die before time.
Ooh.
Maybe if you can take a few more players with him, it would be nice, but they're actually going to back off. They're baiting this in. So now, finish him off after time. He'll have no money left.
That's a great play from Dick Stacey. That is, yeah, perfectly played.
Which is exactly why Bentet went so aggro at the end, because he actually wanted to die for that money so he could get the AK. I think he's got $2,750, somewhere around that right now.
Yeah, something to that effect. So that means he's going to get a deagle, a bit of utility as well. Not what you want to start your game off and your series off in the first buy round, but here we are nonetheless. First proper buy round, I should say. We'll see though. Sicko. Ooh, all right then. Living dangerously. Down to 6 HP after the Molotov. And HE Fire Fest. Still going to remain fairly aggressive here out here in the Banana Grayhound on the first go of it. Eventually has to back down. That's a lot of utility spent though for TYLOO.
It certainly is. They only have one Molotov left, and Inferno, the kind of map where, especially if you're going to execute on the likes of B, you can throw a Molotov into the close boxes, can really cordon off areas, new box too. Not having multiple Molotovs could actually hurt them significantly. And again, you go back to the whole Bentet issue. He actually stuck with a Deagle, so he's a player that is incredibly powerful, but yet he's staying with a Desert Eagle as opposed to having an AK upgraded to him. Is he going to have that level of impact?
Right now, TYLOO just set up waiting for anti-flash. They're actually going to go behind the smoke being thrown out, so gets the drop on the Grayhound players in a massive fashion. That's going to be 2 easy and quick kills for them, and Grayhound already, set to save. That is very well done by TYLOO, though. It's so easy to hesitate for a millisecond, let that smoke settle, and you have no chance of actually getting through it.
You got to push behind the utility on maps like Inferno. Got to play aggro, otherwise you're just going to get swatted away time and time again. And it certainly helps that Sicko got destroyed at the start of the round by nades and Molotovs down to 5 HP. So certainly a big part of the reason that they decided to save.
Absolutely. And it went so quickly by as well that you don't really have the chance to react if you're the CTs. You're not going to be able to edge yourself closer over time. And for TYLOO, only Bentek goes down, and kind of talked about it already. He just had a Deagle. It's not the end of the world. And immediately, Neil goes from shouting to checking his notes, see if there's anything that he picked up on. Maybe a bit of a tell on the side of TYLOO's and that he can relay to his teammates.
It was no frills Counter-Strike, nothing completely out of the ordinary the previous round. They just had a rock-solid execute, and the entry frags went their way. It's a good flashbang, but Dick Stacy, he's overextending, he's overstaying his welcome. He needed that kill quick and clean. He just played himself out of the round.
And for quite a bit of a while there, it looks like somebody was just not getting any help at all. It's the forward Molotovs down from top mid, preventing Freeman to actually get a wide swing. Otherwise, Dick Stacy would have died way sooner. Yet again, TYLOO with the advantage early on. Last time they didn't get the actual frag, but Sicko being on solo HP had him repositioning and getting out of the action. And this time they actually don't get into proper anti-flash positions. Still going to get the trade onto Aircast.
Extra at the back of the site has gone unchecked. It's a good flashbang, but he can't capitalize on it. It really is the story of the round. It was Dexter that threw a flash into Banana and only yielded one kill.
How is somebody not dying?
So lucky it didn't spread to him at the end.
Oh, man. The low HP player on TYLOO as well. Even the nade from Malta just went a little bit too far.
Yeah, I mean, all of this round kind of domino effects from that first couple of moments where Dick Stacy decides to go aggro down Banana, and there's no backup, there's no help, they can't get the kill, he dies, and then they're on the back foot from there on in.
Small margins, though, because Dick Stacy's not far off from getting that opening frag in Banana, and then you see the follow-up of it. Dexter just initially wanted to find Summer. He slips off the boxes the second he starts shooting, so you don't get that early kill. You can't work off of it instead. Everything becomes gradually more and more difficult. Early tactical pause here from Grayhound. TYLOO so far 2 for 2 in these buy rounds towards Banana.
They're certainly going to love that statistic, and they'll be hoping it continues on their choice of map. Of course, Dust 2 is up next.
Again, we've seen Grayhound be solid on Dust 2 so far throughout this tournament, but I still can't get behind teams picking Dust 2 as their own map choice.
I suppose it just comes down to comfort. I mean, they've had a lot of success with their decision-making thus far on the minors, so having full confidence in their own ability and They're a confident bunch of players. You know, Dick Stacey doesn't shy away from backing himself, and neither do Grayhound. TYLOO, in the meanwhile, though, full AKs once again, as you'd expect. Grenades down in Banana, doing a lot of damage, but Sicko's caught a couple himself. He's down to 8. Both times he's had the AWP, he's just been repelled instantly by grenades.
It's a great time if you TYLOO, though. You're not getting careless. You're not forgetting to do the... Well, to follow through on the small details. And again, it's a situation where Sicko can't necessarily play on the corner because that's so often pre-fired, and all you need is pretty much somebody to slightly blow your way, and you'll fall over.
Extra electing for the boiler smoke, but it's actually mid that's getting pushed in. And then caught with a nade out, he has to just turn tail and run.
And they've done this without actually stepping as well on the side of TYLOO. They just threw the flashes and walked up behind it. So there's no real confirmation from Grayhound that there's actually a full-on committal from TYLOO here. That's why you're seeing still a 3-man defense over towards B. Otherwise, you probably would have had a rotation happening at this stage. 45 seconds left to go. A lot of damage has been done onto the TYLOO players, but the man advantage here does make you feel good about their decision-making up to this stage.
The downside is here, because Sicko couldn't play CT side, they don't even have a player in a sweeper position. This is going to be a hefty rotation. They may just save off the back of Malta's death. They're seeing if he can do a bunch of damage. He can't, so they're just going to save instead.
Yeah.
But like, that's all a knock-on effect from Sicko getting naded at the start of the round. You can't play someone CT side, you can't play them speedway. So you bunch them on the site itself.
They pretty much went the opposite gamble of what they did the previous time when Sicko ended up getting targeted down with the utility, right? Because Sicko placed himself over towards Arch corner. They had the 3-man setup over towards A. This time they go with B because probably recognized that similar time TYLOO were able to get this much freedom over towards Banana, they had a B execution, and they have been working pretty out pretty nicely for them so far. So you can't really argue the thought process of Grayhound. But TYLOO are doing a good job of keeping them guessing. And again, Sicko, he's probably getting real tired of not being able to play the game.
It might not be worth even attempting to go for any of these peaks until they get banana control and at least slow down TYLOO's pushes, because TYLOO are getting so much success and effective grenades from it that why would they change it up? Like, there's no reason for them to alter it.
Absolutely. Let's see the odds here. Definitely one of the closer ones we've had so far, GD.bet, official partner of StarLadder Major. 1.75 in favor of Grayhound, even if it is TYLOO's map pick.
I think that's off previous results, honestly. I mean, I know that a lot of my feelings towards Grayhound are based off what we've seen so far. They've just looked so very good. It's understandable why the odds are favoring them, but this is starting to quickly gain momentum and speed on the side of TYLOO. All the rifle rounds have been going their way, but there's a solid 5-7 shot. Decapitating and executing Ben 10. Attack is there to pick up the pieces, however. But the good news for Grayhound is it's not one of the primary weapons of the AWP or FAMAS that is still in play. And Sicko has decided to switch it up. He's now playing quad side instead of on B.
More utility, though.
He's so sick of seeing fire on the ground at this point.
And actually, as a result of him having to go a little bit further back, seems like that's prompted Urkus to actually make a half-hour rotation through Speedway. Now, though, actually going back towards B, it's been a little bit too quiet on the map. And off the smoke, in TYLOO go. Boost coming out as well. We'll see if it's going to be effective at all. Urkus just biding his time.
Oh, that's so smart. That is so intelligent what he did. He waited for the pre-fire, realizing they wouldn't re-peek it, they would call clear, and then he boosts up afterwards to stop the player. That is so sick, and he's going to get in it for a second. Grayhound Gaming actually have the player advantage. Some is down to 16. The bomb still hasn't been planted either. It's actually stuck on the coffin, so they're going to have to cross to the site, and that's where Sicko's going to have his AWP trained. I love that play from Grayhound.
Yeah, that was exceptionally well done by Urkus, having the patience, as you said, waiting the pre-fire, making sure that pretty much TYLOO give the clear call that, yep, we've checked that area. There's not anyone there. We're safe to plant. We're safe to get up on the bomb site. We haven't seen a lot of that from teams. A lot of players just hard commit to the angle and let it be. Urkus actually doing it twice. Second time gets actually helped out by a flash grenade as well. Solid team play there from Grayhound to net them a 4th round. Stop the tide.
You can't fault that one. TYLOO also on the receiving end, as you say, of a couple of flashbangs towards the end, which really cost them dearly. Grenade straight down middle, connects on Freeman and somebody. Just shy of 80 damage inflicted from that $300 grenade. Money well spent. And you're moving up mid. And Grayhound still have 3 incendiaries and a couple of smokes. They can fend this off for a while. 3 players on A. Just Urcast and Dick Stacy, as they often will on the B side. Normally joined by Sicko if they're going to bolster up with a 3rd. Meanwhile, Sicko has his eyes trained on Arch. Or Quad, I should say. Flashbang in there, going to be pushing behind. You can definitely hear the footsteps. They don't
through the legs.
What?
All right, so even with a bit of luck going the way of Grayhound, Malta, though, decides that that's not going to be enough for you. Bentet left alone, 1v3. Eventually clears out 1. Needs to get his hands on the bomb as well. 25 seconds. Bomb will get planted. As Urkus and Dick Stacy decide to group up here on the quad side. You have all the utility as well here. We haven't seen Bentet pop off yet, but this might be...
He's playing the box angle really well, but the problem is he just had no information and no grenades really. He'd love to have, like, you know, underarm smoke the library side. He can focus on the quad.
Exactly. To the credit of Grayhound as well, do a really good job of double peeking as well. What a defense from Malta there in pit. When Sicko definitely not having the margins on his side, felt like it was 2 shots between the legs of the oncoming TYLOO players. Could have so easily gone a whole lot worse.
Yeah, it's a strange one. When they pushed on the side, it kind of caught me off guard because I just assumed it was a kill, you know, but it somehow threaded just underneath him. Had a couple of those moments. Especially when we were casting the early best of 3, there's so many AWP misses.
That very, very true.
Back into somewhat of a default, but TYLOO with 2 SMGs.
Yeah, at least they have utility here to work with, and we've seen their executes have been pretty solid, and the previous round was no real exception to it. It's just better defense out of players like Malta from Pit. Balcony smoke goes out. They get greeted by a fair bit of utility themselves. Sicko's actually going to connect to Freeman jumping down from balcony. It's only one of the SMGs, though. So the wall and pit is going to eventually dissipate, and that's when TYLOO look to make their mark here. Somebody, oh, crazy. Absolutely crazy. Nearly gets punished for it as well. Instead, it's a 2-man swing. TYLOO now with the man advantage. Very likely to get a bomb plant down as well.
Yeah, bomb's going to be going down momentarily. Just 2 flashbangs to bounce back on the site with. Thus, Grayhound decide that they are not interested in playing any further part in this round. They're going to back out. A lot of equipment value. You can understand the decision, but it does put their CT side in jeopardy because TYLOO, once again, bouncing back in another rifle round here.
I think Grayhound have done a pretty good job of deciding when to hold on to the weapons and when to go for it. I think this is the 3rd save we've seen out of them so far, but they've all been justified.
You can see the polar opposite to the Avant and MVP game that we casted, where it seemed like so many times they went in for these sort of like 2v4,
Absolutely
3v4
crazy ones, yeah.
retakes with low HP and no kits, and it always backfires, and it just puts your economy on the back foot needlessly. So Grayhound, especially on maps like Inferno, I feel like, where both sides are actually really hard to retake, you want to piece out the second that you feel like it's just a bit too much to deal with.
100%. And you could tell that TYLOO are doing such a good job of getting proper executes down when they have utility. So you know on the side of Grayhound that you need something to combat that. If you run into rounds and you have to go up against smoke walls like that for pit and everything, and you have 0 utility, you don't stand a chance really, unless you're getting lucky through the smokes with random spraying.
As a result of all of these saves, we've had a lot of rifle rounds in the first 10 of this map and this best of 3. And the vast majority of them have gone the way of TYLOO.
Yeah, keep in mind, Grayhound did pick up the pistol round, so that's why they got a bit of a buffer. TYLOO showing themselves from... It's more of the same side we saw yesterday. Earlier on in the tournament, a bit shaky, but we saw a clear sign of improvement in their best of 3 yesterday, and looking pretty hot so far.
Through apps and Quad once again. Dexter's not been affected by anything, and there's a Molotov kill in amongst the chaos. Heavily in favor of Grayhound Gaming. The early skirmishes backfiring in the face of TYLOO. Incendiary to short. Going to push away Freeman, who does have control of the bomb. And they don't know whether a player's pushed down Banana right now, TYLOO, so they kind of feel compelled to keep pressing forward. They would have enough time to back out, but just going to keep going into the Lion's Den and hoping for the best. Flashbang over, and Dick Stacy from the back alongside Malta establishes a solid crossfire. Rifle round does go the way of Grayhound Gaming.
Very well done. And TYLOO, again, they follow the same mantra, pushing behind the utility, and even when there's counter grenades coming in from the side of Grayhound, they want to push through it. The problem is when you run into a player in addition to that, and you can see they get stuck in the Molotov. Dexter doing a great job to net himself 3 kills. That kind of play works if it's a smoke that you're, I guess, whizzing past, but the Molotov, that kind of keeps you trapped a little bit, does additional damage. Makes it a whole lot worse.
Bentet taking a chunk of damage from the Molotov, forced to use his smoke just to stay alive.
Ooh, the late follow-up as well. Down to 29.
And it's not like they're swimming in smokes either. They only have 2 left. That's valuable utility that has been expended.
Oh, and attacker's going to use... If he... Yeah, okay, I'm not really sure what the goal of that smoke is. It's very unlikely to draw an actual rotation. Sure, it might keep one of the players in arts instead of rotating over, but you kind of needed a secondary smoke here for this B push, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and then instantly after the smoke's thrown, somebody starts shooting on B. So it's like, well, no one's going to rotate now, are they? Because...
Yeah. If anything, people are going to lean over towards the site where you're at. So another smoke comes down. TYLOO just going to have to hope that guns are enough to do it with.
Some solid flashbangs tossed in from the CT. Additionally, cast at the back of New Box is going to have to potentially get one more kill.
No smoke and spawn, and Dexter gets, what, 3 kills for it?
Yeah, this is why we were both puzzled when we saw Attacker lining up the smoker for, I think it was Arches.
Yeah, it does absolutely nothing for you.
No, it was a very strange play indeed.
We've seen a couple of those where I think TYLOO actually were the ones when we saw them playing Mirage yesterday, when you had somebody with 1 flash and he was set to fake B. It's like, guys, I'm totally going to be a 5-man rush B apps here right now. It's just throw a flash and drop that into underpass. Obviously, nothing really comes of it.
I think it's safe to say that Grayhound called their bluff.
Who knows? Maybe some of the more inexperienced teams that TYLOO go up against fall for that a whole lot more.
Full Glocks, not something you see too often. A full terrorist save, not a single flash or P250 purchased. An eco in every sense.
I just want to make sure they get the... They actually have utility, I guess, for the upcoming buy round. Not a bad call from TYLOO, but obviously makes this current round a difficult prospect. Right now, it's Urkus being a sole defender over towards B, though, so there's a chance if they were to get him by surprise, but they want to focus on mid. Nades fly out, and actually, they don't even commit. It's a little bit labored.
Yeah, it's going to be a massacre, and Sicko does pick up the bulk of the kills. I guess they playing a little bit slower in mid. It did draw out a couple of extra grenades, so that's a bit of money that needs to be replenished.
Got him.
Yeah. Still got wrecked though, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, 8-4.
Yeah. Oh, TYLOO, if they can get to 6 rounds here on the T side, I think that's something they can work with. Not too far off that at this stage either. But again, Grayhound posting up a pretty decent first half for themselves. I think a lot of it comes off the back that they've been doing a good job of holding onto their weapons. Bentet again catches Dick Stacy alone being aggressive, and I'm curious if they've heard Dick Stacy diving into Vietnam here. Oh, somebody threw the smoke. Gets an eye on Urkus before the smoke blooms, and, well, Dexter gets caught as well. So TYLOO definitely had an idea. And it's all just kind of falling apart. Not really any sort of committal from TYLOO, just Grayhound players running into their crosshairs. It's going to be the 5th. Barring something special, Summer finds a 2nd. Sicko left alone, and I have a feeling he's not going to be allowed to save this one.
The thing is, though, he could make this a costly round for TYLOO. None of their economy is in particularly good shape. If you can get a couple kills from this, maybe, but nope. He's going to get silenced pretty comfortably in the end. 5th round TYLOO. And yeah, there were a couple of moments, Dexter in the tunnel, and a bit of presence from Banana. You thought if they just got the right timing, Dexter could be in for a whole bunch of success. And he's had a really solid start, by the way. He's 12 and 5.
He's been excellent throughout the entire minors as well. I'd imagine, like, if there ever were to be a change in the lineup of Renegades, Dexter would have to be the #1 call-up, almost regardless of what position you need. Just off of what he's able to bring. Sicko, though, getting aggressive with the op. Not going to stick around for too long. A little bit afraid of pressure being put on from mid, but at least gets temporary information about how many people are at the top of 2nd mid.
Yeah, that's the kind of position that you really can't be in for too long, because once the players start coming up T-steps, you are very susceptible to just being shot in the side.
Absolutely. Now, TYLOO gotten banana control without taking too much damage. And they still have the utility needed to potentially set up for an execute here, and that seems to be the case as well. This time, 3 smokes instead of 1. Maybe we'll get one for CT spawn. Ooh, somebody... Curious if you actually saw an arm there, but it's definitely getting confirmation that somebody's playing from the CT spawn side. This has also caused a rotation over from Grayhound. As you can see, Dexter's hanging a little bit back further in spawn. Just going to come in with a flash as well to boot, and they're going to boost up here behind it. We'll see if actually Dick Stacy decide to play it in a similar fashion to Urkus. Actually, he can't now that Dexter moves away.
Have to go in with just under 30 seconds on the timer. And Urcast alongside Dick Stacy doing plenty of damage. That being said, though, there are some gaps that are being exploited on the B site. They can go for a bomb plant too with Summer. I don't think it's going to get stopped, though. A couple of bullets do smack him on the back of the head momentarily. Only a nade and 2 flashbangs. Ideally, you'd love to have some smokes and Molotovs in play for the CTs on this retake. They're doing plenty of damage, but finally, they are going to start to shift this back towards a possible retake. Somebody going to miss that shot, could cost them dearly as Freeman's gone down as a result. Attacking now, perched in pool, has got one. Sicko knows exactly where he is, but he knows there's a player to his left and his right. An attacker will fend off the retake. So TYLOO again, just by a thread, get it done.
Really big, and probably the biggest upsides of these last few rounds is the fact that you've gotten impact from both Attacker and Summer. They had really slow starts to it. But again, with C8, for the better part of this minor, obviously going up against the same kind of opposition as Grayhound, they've been able to roll with the punches and do pretty well for themselves now, at least making their mark on this first half as well. Buy coming in from Grayhound is not how you want to close out a first half. They're going to have to make the most out of it. This time, they get the nade damage they want.
That is a money nade. That's over 100 damage. And puts them into the range of the pistols and every weapon, in fact, for the counter-terrorists. That's a huge grenade early doors. Was a flashbang out with a peek, but doesn't really offer TYLOO too many options. The bomb's already dropped, by the way, towards T-spawn. Someone has to go back and pick that up, which is going to be Bentet. Meanwhile, somebody is continuing to play aggressive with the AWP up close. He is the point of contact on TYLOO. Seems like he's trying to sell a fake with a smoke. They're now going to back away and look for the timing onto Grayhound. Dexter has spotted a couple of plays. Loses just over 50% of his HP in the process. Malta, 5-7. He's got a kill in this position previously, but they're going to check it this time around. Somewhat telegraphed from Grayhound Gaming. There's another one. Dexter goes into peak. It's going to cost him. It's all on Sicko. CZ in hand. Going to have to fend off against all 5 of TYLOO. Gets the drop on the first. Runs out of bullets, though. It had to be cleaner than that. You feel like you had to get 2 kills to set up Grayhound for a retake. And instead, Dick Stacy out in the open has been laid to waste alongside Urcast. And TYLOO, after a pretty shaky start, have got us to an 8-7 score. Very, very close.
Absolutely so. And now you're feeling a little bit more confident about this being their map pick. And we'll see if that continues on once we get the second half started. But first, a quick commercial break, but do join us when we resume the action.
The bulk of the rifle rounds went the way of TYLOO, but they still trail by 1 round going into the second half on their choice of map here on Inferno. Greyhound definitely helped out by a 4-0 start courtesy of the pistol round win. But we're going to have to see if they can continue to apply the pressure and take TYLOO's map. And remember, of course, the winner of this best of 3 qualifies for the major.
Yeah, everything's on the line for this one. And if you can get it done, on first try, that's what you want to aim for. Greyhound been looking untouched, like completely untouchable up to this stage. This is the closest of a half we've had out of them. And it would be kind of, I guess, a punch to the face for them to not be able to actually close it out right off the bat. But TYLOO just been gradually getting better and better as the tournament's progressed. Greyhound, obviously, they want their fellow Oceanic brothers and Renegades in Berlin later on.
And a whole bunch of other very talented teams, of course, in just over a month's time. All that action will be kicking off. Grayhound Gaming, 2 smokes, 2 flashbangs. Going to be making a slow, steady push up Banana. 3 players strong, but the bomb's still pretty centralized. It's a pretty solid stack from TYLOO. Bentet has a CZ in his hands and Kevlar, so he's going to be quite the monster, and he's playing up close with it too on the first box. These 2 smokes, though, afford them to smoke both CT and coffins if they so choose. Flash over twice. It could be difficult for TYLOO to hold on to this. They've got no information either to send a 4th player around, so they're pretty stacked on the pit side in A. Now the smoke's going to land. Coffins and CT, flashbangs coming through. Bentet close range, gets the first. There's no one there to avenge him. And now Malta strikes back. Summer is going to keep the advantage going for a few more seconds, but Sicko in close enough proximity with the P250 goes to task. And it's back and forth, but Greyhound are going to get the bomb plant.
That is so important for Summer to get that final frag. With 7 HP, gives them a chance here for the 2 remaining players. No kit, no utility on Freeman and Attacker, so they need to get a move on here. Step 1. All down to Dexter behind new boxes. Finds Freeman.
Well, not far off on that P250 headshot either. He's going to go in again. Attacker's trying to mess with his crosshair placement up on the fountain. But as he drops, it's going to be to his death. Dexter secures the 2nd pistol. That's a massive round on the side of Greyhound. They can try and keep that economy low. Did start to worry a little bit for them, though, Ven, on that retake when they lost the first player.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, especially because Dexter, sure, new boxes is a great position, but the problem with it is that once you've been spotted, there's nowhere you can go. And there's 2 players left to find on the side of TYLOO. That could have been quite the disaster, but Dexter handles that beautifully. I think TYLOO were a little bit slow as well to kind of get moving. Even if Attacker wins out that duel versus Dexter at the end of it, I don't really think he has a chance of defusing. Somebody gets good nade damage in. There's the follow-up. Third one. Not going to be as successful.
Somebody got the sicko treatment. Double nades to his face. But yeah, I mean, the early incursions are going to favor TYLOO with how much damage that they've done. UMP in the hands of Summer. Not going to be able to claim more than the 1 kill. An MP5 from sicko. Have time to rotate, and that's why TYLOO are keeping 2 players on A site. They're not entirely sure as to what's about to come up against them. Bentet, CZ, up on the barrels, on the boxes, could do a lot of damage if they push him. But they do have 2 Molotovs, and you'd have to fancy at least one of these will be tossed into a position like this. There's no reason not to. It's going to be 1 new box. They haven't used their second Molotov yet. Attacker tried to peek, got dealt with. That's the Molotov into the smoke. Bit of a mistake, but it's not going to cost them too much as Bentet's gone down without much of a fight. Attacker with his CZ gets hit on the cross while flashbang courtesy of Malta's UMP. And now Freeman's going to try and rummage together something special to clutch a 1v2. Had a chance onto Dexter, did tag him but not land the kill.
Well, it's enough damage to make sure that he could die to 1 bullet here. Dexter needs to be patient as ever.
Thing is, they know he has a Desert Eagle. They would have heard that. So if they stay in positions, they can win this round. Freeman, though, he's going to make this one a tenuous affair. Ooh. Does he have time? I think he does.
I think he might as well, yeah. Well, it's going to be at the very, very tail end of it, though. Oh, there you go. Freeman finally showing the better side of himself. Wins out the 1v2, picks up an AK, and gets TYLOO back into winning ways here. All that utility damage being done early on. Well, Stacey couldn't have gotten that more planted into his face even if he tried.
I think it literally bounced off his head. I think it may have gone down the other side of Banana, but hit off his head and just landed in his pocket.
Slam dunk.
Pretty much. I'm surprised, though, at the end that they actually went for that peak, because if they stayed in more passive angles, I think they definitely would have got a 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, he has to commit to 1 angle.
Maybe it was a case that Dexter got tagged down to 25, so he was scared in case he killed his teammate on the cross, but it should all be in the back of their minds now. Grayhound back into pistols, no Kevlar or nades. So I'm appearing out onto Boiler. It's a whiff grenade. Could have done a significant chunk of damage as most of the terrorists, if not all of them, were pushing him. They're now going to turn tail and back towards Banana, where somebody was residing with a smoke, but he's backed off now. Somebody is just going to be staying behind the barrels. If this goes unchecked, it could be a massacre. But surely someone has a look. Nobody. It's easy. UMP spray with 4. Could be a 5th, but no, he's done everything by himself. I thought someone may just jump up and check it, but maybe didn't want to make any sound cues, and it's going to cost them dearly. That's 4 UMP frags in the back pocket.
That is... yep. It's costing them dearly, and then you get the lineup as well. Somebody's just loving life at that stage. He's been playing so well during this minor, too. One of the players that were notoriously known for being streaky on the older lineups from the TYLOO squad, him and DD, could be that explosive duo to winning out games, but also be completely invisible. Seems like he's definitely found his sweet spot here in the new team.
Well, MP9 at this range is going to do bits for Attacker, can trade across to the SG. It's a good take in the first few moments of round 19. And nade damage to boot onto Dexter, who is looking to avenge, once again, somebody. Identical play to the round prior. Going to smoke down and play aggressive. Once this cleared, he went back, and this is very ballsy and brave, I've got to say. He's the lone B defender. If he goes down, it's just a fast track to the B site. He thinks better of it. He will back away now. Go pick up the bomb. As you can see, they're just about to do so. 3 smokes in play with some flashbangs. Oh no, what's this call? Somebody? Okay. I thought he was going to rotate to A. I was so confused. He's going to trade positions instead because Bentet has the AK-47. The more powerful of guns, but that transitional phase has cost them a bit of control on the B site. They can actually push across. Bentet doing some big damage with the AK through the smoke. Finishes off Dick Stacy, who was tanked up prior. And now Dexter's going to go down too. It's all too easy for TYLOO. No bomb plant is forthcoming. Not able to tick the economy going forward, and it's a clean sweep on top of everything else.
We might be looking at a bit of a trend here. TYLOO looking so strong here on their CT side. As you said, barely a dent being even made into the defense here. Well, it is their map pick, so you would expect them to have things under grips, but this is looking so promising. Now, pistols once more for Grayhound. Dualies actually coming out from Sicko. I mean, out of all the pistol rounds you see, that's definitely not one of the weapons you'd expect to have going for you. We'll see if you can do something with it, though.
Especially not with an AWP, which you'd normally put down for a more precise aimer, more precision-based. Oh. Another huge grenade. Grayhound can't catch a break in mid. They're eating that every single time. Summer going to be called upon. The Sentinel of Arches and Urcast insta headshots him with the Deagle. It's going to open up business. It actually forces TYLOO into pretty claustrophobic angles over on quad. An attacker is trying to fight 2 separate angles. The dual Berettas do come out ahead. And Freeman is all that remains in terms of defense on A. They need a quick rotation from both somebody and Bentet, and Dexter's found another one out of nowhere, out of one of the worst buys that Grayhound have had. They've got a 2v4 retake. There's no incendiaries or HEs either, so it's going to be hard to lock out any of these positions that they're sitting in. And to make matters worse, an incendiary just bounces off Bentet. They're going to save.
Yeah.
Grayhound have picked the round up.
In the most unlikely fashion as well. So pretty much, yeah, scratch everything I said about TYLOO looking solid. TYLOO doing things great. Going from strength to strength. This was just meant to be the easy one. Grayhound get a much needed round though. TYLOO, I mean, definitely didn't expect that to be the outcome of this round, considering how they've, again, gradually been getting better and better. We saw Grayhound more or less have the most of the impact of this game so far. In the early days of the CT side, again, backed off by a pistol as well.
That has to be one of the closest GG.bet odds that we've seen. Almost identical between the two teams.
Absolutely. Grayhound are going to talk things over. Probably want to make sure that they don't get too ahead of themselves. A lot of adrenaline after picking up a round like that.
Still smiles. It's good to see.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not necessarily a round that you can rinse and repeat of. It comes off the back of Urcast landing a beautiful 1-dig onto library side, and then Sicko with dual Berettas getting the better of the pit player. I think it was Freeman. These are pieces of the puzzle that you can't always assume are going to fall into the same places.
Absolutely. I mean, you take those instances when they come around to you, but yeah, if you try to bank your entire game plan on the C-side off of random accidents like that or happenings, then yeah, you're going to be done for more often than not. And again, TYLOO not getting completely shafted by it. Still going to have enough money to rebuy. Up on Summer, all the utility in the world. We'll see if they can respond.
more about the future that's going to be more of an issue. Somebody, grenade onto Dick Stacy. There's the spray. Bentet, upper hand onto Dexter, and somebody continues to push down Banana and will reap the rewards. So Grayhound, hot off the back of a surprise upset round, have gone into a 2-on-5. The bomb's down at the bottom of Banana too, so they're going to have to come out with some frags. And actually, Malta's going to go pick that up, which does leave Urcast alone. Now, he was the architect of round 20. He's going to need to build something truly spectacular if they're going to get this round going their way. They may even decide to just go to B site and hope for the best. And it's still have utility on their belt. 2 smokes and Molotov, plenty of flashbangs. But they want to run with the element of surprise. They don't want to precede any push with a flash, and there's the downside. You just walk into Summer's crosshair with the AWP.
Well, Malta's going to try his luck at the very least. Summer hasn't budged an inch. Which I guess a little bit of help from a smoke instead, but you don't really see him having too much success with this. Going to run up onto the site with time running down, and got to give him credit for trying at the very least.
It's optimistic, isn't he? He also forces the hand to kill him before time.
Yeah,
that was the other element of it. It's like, if you don't kill me before time, I'm getting a bomb plant.
Yeah.
So make your decision.
Can't stop me.
Yeah.
No, definitely fair, but for Grayhound, yeah, that's not the follow-up you wanted. Went a very unlikely pistol round, only to get completely trounced on the follow-up. TYLOO, if their money was ever a little bit shook by the previous round, rectified it immediately with having all 5 players staying up.
It's Grayhound that are coming out worse for wear, though, with a CZ Mac 10. No nades for Dick Stacy either. Somebody, similar play to last round, and to be fair, most of the rounds they've played aggro down Banana.
Yeah.
Surprised that Grayhound haven't got a read on that. Here's the flash into push, but Freeman had his back turned. He was playing anti-flash to perfection. All the kills going the way of TYLOO. Only attacker losing 8 HP, a clean sweep. Shifting up the gears now, Vendetta, and that's going to be a real concern for Grayhound.
Absolutely, but as you said, right, one of the things that they haven't really been able to identify just yet is how TYLOO are playing Banana, or if they are identifying, they're not necessarily responding in the way you'd imagine, because you can see, even before somebody's cleared out the tight corner of Banana there, the rotation has already come in. That his teammate over from, I guess, normal team player on the B-bomb side, he's already made his way into Speedway. So they're just so comfortable about being able to do this exact thing that Bentet's doing now, that they can sure up on that A-bomb site time and time again.
Which is why I'm surprised we haven't had some kind of a timeout and discuss, okay, look, how do we counter this? Let's flash over, get a bit of aggression going down Banana, take control early on, or at least force TYLOO back, because they can't keep doing this over and over again.
We'll see. Still have something to work with. They might want to hold on to their timeout until they have a buy round coming in. We'll see. But right now, it really feels that whenever it's gun round versus gun round, it's been all about TYLOO for the better part of the match.
Yeah, it has to be heavily in favor of TYLOO when it comes to rifle rounds for sure.
Well, Dick Stacy gets a tag at the very least onto somebody as he tries to get aggressive down Banana.
So Bentet just go back for a moment to check spawn. I think because they don't have arch control, he was cognizant of that and worried in case there was going to be a wraparound.
You could tell Summer's set up in a corner position to cover off arch as well if there's a wrap, but it's going to be the play through quad here, and they're going to get a lot of real estate to pounce onto the site. There we see, well, almost saw the beauty of the crossfires. Actually, that's pretty well dealt with from Grayhound. They're going to get up, well, they're going to get the chance to pick up weapons as well. Stick up with the op. Aircast on the M4. Only issue is they don't have Kevlar right now.
They do have an AWP though, and that's been taken away. Oh, the dink onto Bentet. Nearly threading the eye of the needle, but instead Bentet holds his ground with the AK. 13-10. I was just very surprised there, Ven, that you've got 3 players stacked on site. Okay, that's cool. One's in Graveyard, 2 on site. You've got no one playing Pit for the longer range exchanges when you know you're against pistols.
It is really weird, right? Especially because so often when you hear people talking about pit, whether it's analysts, pro players, and whatnot, it's the linchpin position of that A-bomb site because it's fairly easy to play initially for a CT side. It's so hard to deal with for Ts. You know that you're going up against a team that don't really have utility considering where their economy finds themselves in. Not a whole lot makes sense in that scenario, especially because you got Summer tucked into a box corner with an AWP. So what does he do when, again, you give them enough leeway to actually push up quad, misses one shot, you're 100% dead.
And all you have to do is look at players like Magisk in pit and see the level of impact that he can have. Can pretty much hold the site by himself. He's that good. Obviously, we don't have a Magisk in the server, but TYLOO should be making the most of the position. Freeman is up on the balcony this round. Can drop down, of course, if he's required to.
Pretty spread out with the current setup. You have Summer not on an AWP anymore, but he's still holding just archways in a rather passive fashion. So it's very much on the two players booked over towards site to be able to hold them back, use their utility to fend them off for the time being, and they don't really have that much to go with. 2 flashes on attacker, and Freeman's got an HE.
To make matters worse, there's a smoke in the eyes of Library, and the smoke in Arch is fading. So a lot of ground is being made up. Sure, TYLOO have 4 players over on this side of the map. The timing has favored Summer momentarily before Dexter eviscerates him. 25 seconds. Grayhound have to push forward to A. And it has to come soon. Freeman is in pit. Attacker close left. Bentet located in Library. The flashbang's good, and Attacker's going to hold his ground. Dexter neutralizes Bentet. Now going to be making a move. Can he land the frag onto Freeman? Yes, he can. That could open it up. 8 seconds to go. Attacker's being overwhelmed. They're going to get there just in time. Or actually, are they? They've just picked up the bomb now. They're going to be too late. That is such an error in judgment. They got the kills.
They did. They didn't get the bomb plant, though, Vince.
Bruh.
It's a bitter pill to swallow, isn't it? It's a hard moment for Grayhound, and once they finally break through the barriers, it's their own wrongdoing. Let's see here, 8 seconds left at this stage, and oh well. Good adjustment from somebody at least. This is the last remaining TYLOO player alive to not get carried away, and puts them to 14. The buy coming in from Grayhound is going to be good in terms of weaponry, but utility is going to be lacking. Urkus, though, wide swing to find Freeman. Ooh, and over towards Banana as well. Somebody's finally going to be dealt with. He's been having quite the run of success, really, over towards that area of the map.
A prime example of why the AK is the superior rifle. In Apps, Urkast traded headshots, he lives, his adversary dies, purely off the basis of the M4 not being a one-hit kill. Which is significant too, because now Grayhound Gaming have forced TYLOO to respect their prowess over on the A side of the map, and they're now going to make the most of B. To be fair, though, it is going to be a gamble stack. It's one of those classic moves on Inferno where you put your remaining players on a site, you hope for the best, and if it's a plant on the other side, you just save. They've got a decent round buffer, no reason to throw these guns away, even though they can buy into the next round regardless of what happens here. So 14-11, going to be the score. The economy for Greyhounds not really in good enough shape to justify sending weapons to their demise. So I think we are going to have all 7 players surviving, or 8 players, pardon me, surviving from this position.
Well, then one step closer for Grayhound. TYLOO. I don't think you really need to get stressed out about what just occurred or feeling like you're losing grip at the game up at this stage. Just simple effect of losing out the initial fights there on the 2 extremities of the map that allows Graham to get a pretty easy bomb take over towards B.
A little bit of confidence for Greyhound, though. I mean, they've been struggling in a lot of these rounds when it comes to cracking open sites and getting the entries. So we are finally poised between the two teams. Obviously, TYLOO still going to be firm favourites to convert from this point. They've looked like the more solid of the units here. But I will say that Grayhound... Oh, that's a very poor Molotov. That's actually going to burn somebody and force him out of position. That's a big, big whiff.
Summer just being mad about the fact that he doesn't get to main op anymore.
If I weaken him and he keeps dying, maybe I'll get to AWP again. We'll lose, but whatever. It's all about me.
Worth it. Well, it's not going to have a lasting effect, at least for the time being, as Grayhound have decided to hump back from Banana, focus over towards A. And again, pretty split defense on the side of TYLOO. This time they have Freeman down in pit, so I'd say that's an improvement. See, again, though, Summer's just been put out of commission for the time being with the smoke going down in Library.
Oh, I'm nervous. It's Dexter. He was going in first with the bomb. That's why I'm nervous, because now the bomb's in an awkward spot. Fortunately, there's smokes, but it's cleared, and Dick Stacy stands to attention with the AK frag. Sicko is going to make it that much more difficult.
Yeah, and this is going to be something they hear on the side of the CTs, and they need to jump on this immediately. They have to realize that this is going to be the move from Grayhound. Somebody getting caught on the flank, and still just no reaction. Are they really thinking that this is going to be a double fake? It's so unlikely. I guess they just want to hold on to their weapons. That feels like something they could have definitely taken advantage of. Could have gotten a quick rotation. Attacker could have been in a position to pick off a few players before they even make it to the bomb site.
I mean, Grayhound are doing a good job of actually adapting to what TYLOO are putting up against them. They're doing much better when it comes to denying banana control.
Yeah.
Which is messing with the heads of TYLOO. It doesn't afford them the luxury of stacking A all the time. So it has this adverse effect for TYLOO's overall grand schemes. And if they can save these two M4s, which isn't certain with Urcast on the prowl. Oh, he's found Attacker. Nearly gets the second, but the call's going to come through, and here's Dick Stacy. I don't think that either Sicko or Malta are in close enough proximity to deny the M4, but it does actually have a pretty strong effect. I'm curious if we're going to have a tactical timeout by TYLOO, just to figure out what they need to alter themselves.
Well, one of the things they are struggling with is basically if they're setting up for an early B defense, having 3 players over there to throw out nades and utility, oftentimes Summer finds himself in a position where he can't get forward an arch, so he's usually playing passive positions that do end up getting smoked out eventually. So whether it's on the 2 other players to do a similar setup as we saw with the boost on top of roof, and then having 1 player play underneath them, and then eventually a late play and late rotation coming in through arch, that could be what you'd like to go for, but you need to have more presence over towards mid, because right now you're giving so much space for Grayhound to get up close.
Well, the answer is no. They don't want to call a timeout. They're going to be pressing forward, feeling like they can still get the job done, no problems. Attacker went for an M4 in headless Kevlar, affording him no grenades, so wants that firepower over the utility. Does put them in a bit of an awkward spot with over a minute to play with. 2 incendiaries and the 1 smoke remains. Somebody up close. That smoke is going to put Dick Stacy off. Actually could have just cost TYLOO a kill. I'm not sure if he would have checked that angle. Oh, somebody's pushed through the smoke with this much time left.
Yeah, that's a somebody move right there. But I mean, it can pay off big time, and it can also hurt you so badly.
You can either look like a genius or a moron.
Yep, and in this case, it's the latter. But look at this. Bit of a blind read from TYLOO. They're actually rotating over towards the B bomb site. They seem pretty committed to this as well. They could be the perfect read after a bad situation. Smoke down, buys more of an avenue for TYLOO to set up here in proper positioning. Summer. Oh, this is going to be brilliant for TYLOO.
Time is so low, they can't afford to take any casualties either, and the Molotov is burning them alive. They are stuck.
Okay.
They are struggling. 7 seconds. Summer just needs to delay them a little bit longer. He may have done enough. The bomb is actually going to start to get planted. They have enough time. Yes, they do. Just with a second to go, TYLOO maybe letting this one slip. Urcast's position is known, but so is Freeman's, and he's about to get picked off from Sicko. Hold on. Nope, I spoke too soon. He's still alive. Oh. Just kidding.
Go. Yeah, got him. Had you fooled for a minute. And you got to be looking at what Attacker is doing in that scenario. As you said, time is ticking down so slowly. Bentet's yet to die. Summer's still in a position where he can rain off shots onto the incoming Grayhound players. And Attacker decides to fully commit through the smoke to just wildly spray into it all. That feels like a bit of a, not even a desperate move, just, you know, horny for frags for no good reason. I mean, that literally cost you the round. You would have been so much better off letting Summer and Bentet do their own thing. You've provided nothing with your aggressive push. If you rotate around to become the backup of Summer, you're still going to be in a position to deny the bomb plant, which is the really big thing. They've got 7 seconds to play with at this stage.
Yeah, it's like somebody was living vicariously through Attacker. It's like, I might be dead, but I'm going to puppeteer
I'm going to whisper in his ear
to push to that smoke.
Oh, man. Because even if you have a flash in that scenario, and the Grayhound players were flashed, you still don't... Like, the reward is not worth the risk that it stands when you already have 2 players defending it. Now, pistols for TYLOO. Grayhound extremely likely to equalize it all. It's just so reckless and so unnecessary.
Sometimes that is just TYLOO. It's reckless abandon. It's what makes them such an entertaining team to watch. One minute you're cheering for them, the next minute you're pulling your hair out. Well, I'm not. Feels bad, man. Malta, in the meanwhile, knows that at least one counter-terrorist was in apps just a few moments ago, and they're going to find out it's 2. But Freeman is going to take Urkast's head off, and there's a peak timing from Summer. Hold on a second, you just assumed this round was going to be a formality, but TYLOO have the advantage. Oh,
it's just going to be where Grayhound stumble. We've seen TYLOO have issues with this already. Freeman's gotten into, well, I was about to say a solid position, but he's actually going to rotate off towards B. Summer's all alone.
He's all alone, but these positions are tailor-made for the CZs. There's one. Ooh. Nearly a second.
Did one of those shots hit the bomb? No, that can't be. Yeah, no, it's not an object like that. Surely not. I could have sworn I saw, like, sparkling, or sparkle around the head of Sicko. I was expecting that to be a proper tag. Freeman's going to go down to Dick Stacy, so even numbers and health definitely favoring Grayhound.
Well, health, the Kevlar.
Everything.
Positioning. It is going to go their way more than likely. Bentet on 5 HP.
Hold on to that weapon, Bentet.
Yeah.
Here you go.
It's not worth it. Just back out, keep the AK, get a decent buy in the next round. You're still going to be 14-14, but of course, in their mind, they're feeling like this is becoming a defeat because they were 14-11 up. In fact, 14-10 up, I believe. So,
oh, they've had a pretty significant lead. 14-10, as you said.
And this is TYLOO's choice of map.
And they've been looking so much better. I mean, outside of the one pistol round that I guess we can write off. Well, we can't now. That could actually prove to be pretty significant. Outside of that, TYLOO was looking so dominant on every single rifle round. Now they're making it really, really hard for themselves.
And this is precisely why, when I think it was 14-11 or 12, I said, I wonder if TYLOO are going to call a timeout. Just to figure out what they need to switch up, or just try and take some momentum away from Grayhound. But
I think like not even a timeout would help, because we've seen just individual conundrums, right? Like somebody pushing aggressively for the 19th down banana in an unnecessary position. Like eventually you kind of come to terms with the fact that, okay, Grayhound are a team that actually are going to hold things off, right? I'm just going to find Dick Stacy at the top banana. So some luck turning his way finally. But yeah, like, eventually you should learn that the teams are covering their back. Same thing with Attacker as well. That's not things you can fix in a timeout.
Smoke out to Arch. I think that did actually tag the player in the face, so that would have been heard by Summer.
Actually gives up the position as well. I'm not too big of a fan of this kind of setup. This feels so volatile. Some are even playing behind the box as well instead of on top of it. So
this is the same kind of setup they had last time when we talked about pit, like utilizing pit. This time there are going to be nades going in there and smokes.
They're more likely to treat each other than enemies at this stage, it feels like. This is so dicey. Maybe they're not going to expect Summer to be there.
Well, the chaos is about to descend, and Freeman is the first casualty of war. 33 seconds, still need to make inroads. Malta's gone in with 2. Did expect a third? Yes, they do. Malta, SG in hand, obliterating Grayhound. or TYLOO, I should say, from Greyhound's perspective, and somebody in Bentet, they're going to save again. How is this happening?
I mean, they have to ask themselves, like, what the hell is going on over on that A-bomb site? Because so many rounds now you've had Grayhound literally being at the steps, at the literal steps of the bomb site before they execute, before there's any sort of information for your teammates to play off of. Look at this, like, there's no rotation in time because they have no information to play off of. The A setups on the side of TYLOO have been garbage for the better part of the last 5-6 rounds.
I mean, it sounds harsh, but it's just a fact. I mean, you can't argue with the statistics that TYLOO have been conceding so many rounds on this side of the map. And it hasn't even been close. Like, that's the thing. It hasn't been like these 1v1. They just got completely destroyed.
Yeah.
Malta walked in and killed 3 players. He didn't even need anyone else with him.
Yeah, I mean, sure, you can always talk about the fact that, okay, Malta gets a little bit fortunate to find 2 of them through the smoke and everything, but that's pretty standard positions to pre-fire, regardless if there's a smoke or not there.
But again, it's the whole make your own luck. If you're TYLOO and you stack the site, you don't have any presence in pit, Archer's been smoked off.
Yeah.
Like, you're saying, come at us, bro, and then you get spammed through the smoke. Like, that's going to happen. I don't know how he's managed to get away from this, Bentet.
I think he's questioning that himself, and they need to make this work right now. Grayhound, 1 round away from stealing away TYLOO's map pick in what was looking like such a surefire win for TYLOO.
I mean, you rewind 10, 15 minutes ago, and you asked us who's winning this. We both have said TYLOO 100%.
Yeah, we would have been preparing for Dust 2 right about now.
Exactly. Instead, we're on the brink of Grayhound upsetting TYLOO on their choice of map and then moving through to Dust 2. And if they win that and get across the finish line here, they will qualify for the major. Of course, it's still plenty of...
Why are you making this play for TYLOO? So many of the hits have been towards A for such a long time. And again, you're playing without any sort of information. You're blindly stacking over towards this bomb site. You can't have another go at it. That's the problem, right? Gamble stacking is one thing, but usually you can play off the fact that if they don't come towards your site, you can at least save and go at it next round. There is no next round.
Okay, boys, rotate. Come on. Why are you still stuck on
commit.
B? They're clearly hitting A. But they're still on B site.
Well, it's over.
They've just mentally checked out. I don't know what to say. Summer and Bentet, 2v4. Stranger things have happened, but yeah.
I mean, TYLOO's decision-making has been stranger. But they don't really have time. There's a kid on Bentet, but he's on 2 HP. They don't really have the utility to close off any areas either. Not the immediate trade either, so it's all down to Bentet. And he's going to fall down in a well-deserved victory roar from the Grayhound guys. I mean, they definitely deserved it. TYLOO certainly made the job easy.